You know, you are a really smart, capable person.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, in your native language, you're probably really funny. You know how to tell a great story to your friends. You know how to order food, how to navigate the world, right?
Yeah, you have a whole rich personality.
Exactly. You are a complex adult.
Right.
But then you travel to a new country. You walk up to the door of a restaurant in, say, London or New York or Sydney.
Right.
You grab the door handle, and suddenly it feels like your entire personality just, well, disappears.
It just vanishes.
Yeah. You forget every single English word you ever studied. You feel like you can't speak at all. It is incredibly frustrating, isn't it?
It is a deeply, deeply frustrating experience. Because, I mean, you know exactly what you want to communicate, but the words simply refuse to come out of your mouth.
Right.
Your heart starts beating a little faster. Your hands might feel, sweaty. The restaurant is loud. People are moving quickly. And you just feel completely paralyzed.
I used to think I was just bad at learning languages. Like, I would stand outside a cafe, look through the window, and think, well, I am too scared to go inside.
Oh, I've heard that so many times.
I would just tell myself, I will go to a supermarket and buy a sad, cold sandwich because I just don't have to talk to anyone.
So many people do exactly that. They choose the cold supermarket sandwich just to avoid the fear of the restaurant. But we need to understand why this happens.
Yes, let's get into that.
Because it is not because you are bad at English. It is a literal biological reaction. When you are stressed, your brain builds a wall.
Like a physical barrier.
Exactly. In linguistics, we sometimes call this an affective filter, but we can really just think of it as a stress wall.
A stress wall. I like that.
Right. When you feel anxious or judged, this wall goes up and it completely blocks the vocabulary you have memorized. The words are still inside your head, but the stress wall stops you from using them.
Oh, like the analogy from our source material. I love this part. They say it's like all the English you study just disappears from your brain like a cookie that fell on the floor.
Yes, that is exactly what it feels like. It's just gone.
That makes perfect sense. The stress wall blocks the words. Well, welcome to this deep dive. If you are listening to this right now, I am talking directly to you.
Yes, you.
Today, our mission is to break down that stress wall. We are going to look at some fantastic source materials designed specifically for people learning English, especially at that beginner level.
For A2 level, yeah.
Exactly. But we're doing this a bit differently today. We are focusing purely on everyday, practical survival skills for ordering food.
Real life English.
Right. We are not going to talk about complicated textbook grammar.
Yeah.
We are not going to look at confusing verbs. We are going to use simple, clear words, and we are going to move at a moderate, very comfortable pace.
Because we're going to focus on the reality of how native speakers actually talk.
Yeah.
Textbooks often try to teach you these very long, formal sentences. They teach you to speak like, I don't know, a king or a queen from 100 years ago.
Right, like, good evening, sir. I would like to partake in your finest meal.
Exactly. But real life is fast, and it is much, much simpler. So before we even look at the vocabulary, we need to establish the most important rule of the day.
Okay, what is it?
This is the absolute key to lowering your stress wall. The server at the restaurant, the person bringing your food, is not your teacher.
Oh, wow. That is such a relief to hear.
They are not. They do not have a red pen in their pocket.
Right, they aren't going to grade my sentence structure.
They literally do not care about your grammar. A server has a very specific, practical job. They want to find out what food you want to buy, and they want to bring it to your table. That is it.
That makes total sense.
If you use a wrong verb or if you, forget a word, they will not judge you. They are your partner in this process. You want to eat, and they want to feed you. You are on the exact same team.
I love that so much. You are on the same team. So let's walk through this entire journey together, step by step.
Let's do it.
Imagine we are walking up to the restaurant right now. We pull the heavy glass door open. We step inside. Usually, there is a person standing right at the front, behind a small desk.
Host stand, yeah?
Right. And the noise of the restaurant hits you. There are plates clinking, people laughing. This person at the front needs one basic piece of information before anything else.
Yes, and they will probably just look at you and ask something very brief, like how many? Or table for how many?
Or even just how many people?
Exactly. They are simply asking for a number. How many people are in your group?
Yeah.
This is your very first interaction, and the best part is that your answer should be incredibly short.
Short is good. Short is safe.
A textbook might tell you to say, "Good evening. I would like a table for 2 people, please." But in a busy, noisy restaurant, that is actually way too much information.
Yeah, if I try to say a sentence that long while I am already nervous, I will definitely stumble over my words. I mean, I will probably mix up table and people and say something totally silly.
Right, and then the panic sets in, so we keep it short. You only need the number and the word please. So
Okay.
2, please, or 4, please.
2, please? That's so manageable.
It is clear, it is polite, and it's exactly what the host needs to hear to do their job.
But our source material highlights one specific phrase here that I really want to talk about, because sometimes, you are traveling alone.
Yes, solo travel.
And eating at a restaurant by yourself can already feel a little lonely or maybe a bit awkward. When the person asks how many, the absolute best response to use is this phrase, just me.
Just me. Oh, let's really think about why that phrase is so powerful.
Yeah, break that down for us.
If you say 1, it sounds a little flat or sad almost, but just me sounds highly natural. It sounds confident.
I totally agree.
And practically speaking, it requires no sentence building at all. You don't have to think about verbs or subjects. When you say just me, you are taking complete control of the interaction.
Right, it's like you're owning it.
Yes. The server immediately understands, grabs a single menu, and leads you to a comfortable spot.
Just me. It feels so much better than saying one person. Okay, so you say, just me, or 2, please. The server smiles and says, right this way.
And you follow them.
You follow them through the crowded room, you sit down in your chair, you were probably still wearing your jacket, you were just starting to take a breath. And then the very first challenge begins.
Before you even look at the food.
Right. Before you even open the menu, the server asks, can I get you something to drink?
Yes. This is a standard rhythm in almost every English-speaking restaurant. They really want to get a drink into your hand as quickly as possible so you feel welcome and settled in.
But here is my problem. I just sat down. I am still trying to adjust to the bright lights and the loud noise. I open the drink menu, and there are 30 different kinds of coffee, tea, juice, and soda.
It's overwhelming.
It is. I have no idea what I want. And the server is standing right next to me, staring at me with their pen ready. I feel this intense pressure to speak quickly. I don't want to be a bother to them. How do I, hit the pause button without sounding like a jerk?
That feeling of pressure is so incredibly common. You feel like you are wasting their time. But you absolutely need to buy yourself some time to lower that stress wall we talked about.
Yes, please give me a pause button.
Our sources give us a perfect lifesaver phrase for this exact moment. When you feel panicked, you look at the server and you just say, can I have a few more minutes?
Can I have a few more minutes?
Or you could say, we're still looking at the menu.
Okay, but I always worry that if I send them away, they will be angry with me. Like I'm being a difficult customer.
We really need to look at this from the server's perspective. In a restaurant, a server is usually managing 5, 6, or maybe even 10 different tables at the exact same time.
Wow. Yeah, they are busy.
They are constantly prioritizing tasks in their head. So when you ask, can I have a few more minutes? You are actually giving them a gift.
Really? A gift?
Yes, you are giving them permission to go do something else. They go check on another table or pick up a plate of food from the kitchen. It relieves the pressure on both of you. They will usually just smile, say, take your time, and walk away.
That completely changes how I view the situation. I am not failing at ordering. I am just managing the time. I'm actually helping them do their job.
Exactly. You are collaborating.
Okay, so they walk away. You take a deep breath. The stress wall comes down a little bit. You look at the menu, and you decide you want a coffee.
Good choice.
When the server comes back, we need to use what the sources call the champion phrase.
Ah, yes, the champion phrase.
Yeah.
We call it that because it is the most reliable, heavy-lifting structure in conversational English for ordering anything.
What is it?
The structure is simply, I'll have a Bic. Let's say it slowly for the listener. I'll have a
coffee. I'll have a water. It acts like an empty frame, right? You just drop the name of the drink right at the end of the phrase.
Yes, exactly like a frame. And we must include the magic word that acts as your politeness bumper. You must add please to the end. I'll have a coffee, please.
Now, does adding please really matter that much? Like if I just say I'll have a coffee, isn't that enough? They know what I mean.
The word please does an enormous amount of heavy lifting in English culture. If you use very short, simple sentences, you might worry that you sound, rude or demanding.
Right, like I'm barking orders.
But the moment you attach please to the end of a simple sentence, It instantly becomes polite. It softens the instruction completely. You do not need complex grammar to be polite. You literally just need please.
So I'll have a coffee, please? The server writes it down, smiles, and walks away. You have survived the first few minutes. You have a drink coming. Now we face the real challenge. You have to open the main food menu.
And for a language learner, a food menu can be a deeply terrifying document.
Terrifying is absolutely the right word. It is this huge piece of paper covered in tiny text. The words are incredibly difficult.
And they often aren't even English words.
Right. You might see French words like croissant or au jus. You might see these really complex Italian pasta names. I sit there and I think, well, if I try to say this word out loud, I'm going to sound ridiculous. The server won't understand me, and I will be so embarrassed.
This is where our sources provide what I think is the most liberating advice of all. It is a secret superpower that immediately removes the pressure of perfect pronunciation.
I need a superpower. What is it?
You do not have to say the word perfectly. You can simply point your finger at the menu.
I love this idea so much. I like to think of my index finger as a universal remote control.
A remote control. Tell me about that.
Well, you know how a television remote works, right? You don't need to understand the computer chips inside the television. You don't need to know how the wires connect. You just point the remote at the screen, push a button, and the channel changes.
That is a great analogy.
Your finger does the exact same thing in a restaurant. You just point at the difficult word on the menu, look at the server, and say, "I'll have this one, please."
Let's explain why pointing is not only acceptable, but actually preferred in many situations. Because, you might have learned in a textbook that pointing is rude.
Oh yeah, my mother always told me never to point.
Right. Pointing at a person is usually considered rude, but pointing at a menu is a tool of extreme clarity.
How so?
Think about the physical environment of a restaurant. There's music playing. People at the next table are talking really loudly. The coffee machine is making a ton of noise. The server might have a hard time hearing you, even if your English pronunciation is flawless.
Oh, that's true. So if I try to proudly pronounce, chicken parmigiano with my thick beginner accent, while the coffee machine is screaming in the background, the server might write down the wrong thing entirely.
Sure.
Like I might ask for chicken and end up with a plate of fish.
Precisely. And the server's main priority is accuracy. They really want to bring you the correct plate of food. If you point your finger directly at the text on the menu while you speak, there is zero confusion.
Right. They can just read it themselves.
The server sees exactly what you want. It removes all the guesswork. Pointing is an efficiency tool that helps everybody.
So we point our remote control at the menu, but we still need a little phrase to carry the action. The sources give us 3 core phrases for ordering food. Let's explore these because they all have slightly different feelings to them.
Okay, the first one is that champion phrase we already learned for drinks. It works perfectly for food too. I'll have the
chicken, I'll have the soup. This one feels very solid, very decided.
It is the most common, reliable phrase you will hear. Now, the second option is slightly different. It is, can I get the fit? For example, can I get the fish? Or can I get the burger?
Can I get the burger? This one feels a bit more relaxed to me. It feels casual, almost like I am talking to a friend rather than, giving an official order.
It is very friendly and conversational. In cafes or casual lunch spots, you will hear native English speakers use, can I get the constantly?
Good to know.
Now, the third option is a bit softer and slightly more formal. It is, I'd like thee.
I'd like thee. Now, that is a shortened form of I would like, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd like the steak, please. It is gentle and extremely polite.
Okay, so I have 3 really great tools. I'll have the, can I get the, and I'd like the. My instinct as a student tells me I should memorize all 3. I should try to use a different one every single time I order so the server thinks I have this huge, impressive vocabulary.
Oh, I strongly advise against doing that.
Really? Why not?
This is a massive trap that many language learners fall into. They think variety equals fluency. But when you are nervous, trying to choose between 3 different phrases uses up your precious brain power.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm wasting energy deciding which one to use.
Yes. The best strategy is to pick exactly one phrase, just one. Pick the one that feels the easiest for your mouth to say. If I'll have the is easy for you, marry that phrase. Make it your best friend. Use it for your drink. Use it for your appetizer. Use it for your main meal. Consistency is so much better than trying to juggle multiple phrases.
That takes so much pressure off. I really don't need to perform a vocabulary show for the server. I just need to be clear.
Exactly.
Okay, so imagine the scene. I pointed at the menu. I used my one favorite phrase. I said, I'll have the burger, please. I close the menu. I lean back in my chair. I survived. I am so proud of myself. But then disaster strikes.
Uh,
The server does not leave. They stay at the table and they ask me a question.
this is what we can call the minefield of restaurant conversation. You think the interaction is over, but suddenly you have to navigate a series of completely unexpected follow-up questions.
It feels exactly like a jump scare in a horror movie. Like you relax, you think you're safe, and then boom, a question hits you. I always panic here because I have stopped preparing my English in my head.
But the stress wall shoots right back up.
Exactly. Let's prepare our listener for these jump scares so they are never caught off guard. The most famous one happens when you order a piece of beef, like a burger or a steak. The server will lean in and ask, "How would you like that cooked?"
How would you like that cooked? This is a question about temperature and time. They need to know how long the chef should leave the meat on the hot grill. The longer it stays on the grill, the more cooked the center becomes.
And, in some cultures, meat is just cooked until it is done. You don't have a choice at all. So this question can be very confusing. Let's talk about the specific English words we use to answer this.
Okay.
Let's start with meat that spends very little time on the grill.
The word for that is rare. Let's say it clearly. Rare. If you ask for your meat rare, the outside will be brown, but the inside will be soft, warm, and very red or dark pink. It is barely cooked in the center.
I have a friend who loves rare steak, but it is definitely not for me. Too red. What is the next step up from rare?
The next level is medium. This is probably the most popular choice. A medium steak is cooked roughly halfway. It is brown on the outside, but it still has a nice bright pink center.
Okay, but what if I want it cooked a little bit more, but not completely dry?
Then you ask for medium well. The meat will be mostly brown all the way through, but you look very closely at the dead center. There's just a tiny hint of pale pink left.
Got it. And what if I am completely terrified of pink meat? Like, what if I want my meat cooked until it is essentially a brown brick? I have to admit, this is how I usually order it, and my chef friends always yell at me for ruining the beef.
Oh, the chefs definitely complain. But if you want no pink at all, you order it well done. The meat is fully cooked, brown from edge to edge. Chefs might not love it, but hey, you are the one eating it.
Right, it's my dinner. Okay, so the choices are rare, medium, medium well, and well done. Now, earlier we talked about using simple phrases. When the server asks, "How would you like that cooked?" Can I really just give them a one-word answer? Can I just say medium, please? It feels a bit too direct. Shouldn't I say something like, "I would like my burger cooked medium, thank you"?
You certainly can say the long sentence, but the one-word answer is actually the most natural, polite way to respond in English. We have to remember a concept we mentioned earlier. In a busy environment, efficiency is politeness.
Efficiency is politeness. I need to write that on my hand.
It's true. The server has a tiny notepad or maybe a small digital tablet. They have about 3 seconds to input your preference before they need to ask the next person at the table. They do not need a full paragraph.
That makes a lot of sense.
Medium, please gives them the exact data they need, instantly, wrapped in a polite please. It is the absolute perfect response.
That is incredibly reassuring. Okay, let's look at the next minefield question. Sometimes I confidently order a chicken sandwich, and the server asks, "What side would you like?" The first time I heard this, I literally looked left and right, wondering what side meant.
The word side is short for side dish. A side dish is a smaller plate of food that accompanies your main meal. The chicken sandwich is the star of the show, but the sandwich might come with a choice of companions.
Companions, right.
You might get a pile of French fries, or a small green salad, or perhaps a bowl of fruit. Those are the sides.
The problem is, sometimes I don't read the menu closely enough. The server asks, "What side would you like?" And I realize I have no idea what the choices even are. Do I have to quickly open the menu again and frantically search the tiny words?
No, you don't have to search at all. You can just turn the question back around to the server. You just ask, what are the sides?
What are the sides? It is so incredibly simple.
It is entirely acceptable. The server knows the menu by heart. They will quickly list them for you. They'll say, we have fries, a side salad, or rice. And then you can use your simple one-word structure again. Fries, please.
Brilliant. Now, we must talk about a question that is becoming very, very common, and it is actually a matter of safety. After you order, the server might ask, "Any allergies?"
Yes, this is a crucial moment. In many English-speaking countries, restaurants take food allergies incredibly seriously. An allergy is when a specific food causes a dangerous physical reaction in your body.
Right.
It is not about foods you dislike. It is about foods that will make you sick. The kitchen needs to know if they must use clean cutting boards and separate tools to prepare your food safely.
So if I know that eating, say, nuts makes my throat swell, how do I express that clearly?
You need a highly definitive phrase. The standard structure is, I'm allergic to. Let's say that very clearly for our beginners. I'm allergic to...
I'm allergic to nuts. I'm allergic to seafood.
Exactly. You can also use the noun form. You can say, I have a dairy allergy if milk or cheese causes problems. When you say this, the server will usually make a very clear note on your order and the chef will be alerted.
But what if I am lucky and I can eat absolutely everything with no problems? Do I just stare at them silently?
No, you need to verbally confirm that you are safe. You can simply say, no allergies. Or a very natural, casual response is, no, that's fine.
No allergies. Perfect. So you have navigated the minefield.
You survive.
You answered the meat question. You picked your side. You survived the allergy check. The server is writing the last notes. Then they ask one final question to wrap everything up. They ask, would you like anything else?
They're just offering you one last chance to add to your order.
This is a moment I always mess up. I end up doing this awkward verbal dance. I say, no, okay, thank you, goodbye, we are done. I don't know how to dismiss them properly. How do we cleanly close the interaction?
You need a phrase that signals the absolute end of the transaction. The cleanest, most natural phrase is, that's all, thank you.
That's all, thank you.
Yes. Another really great variation is, no, that's it, thanks. These phrases act as a green light for the server.
A green light?
Yes. It tells them, I have given you all my information. You may now go to the kitchen. They will usually take the menus from your hands and walk away.
And you can finally exhale. You did it. The food is ordered. Now the food arrives, and it is delicious. You are eating, laughing, and enjoying yourself. But inevitably, a new problem arises. You are halfway through your meal. Your water glass is completely empty, and you are very thirsty.
Or maybe you dropped your fork on the floor.
Right. You need the server to come back to your table.
You have to re-engage them. And this is a very delicate cultural moment. How you ask for attention speaks volumes about your cultural awareness.
Well, I have seen old movies where a wealthy customer sits at a table, raises his hand high in the air, snaps his fingers loudly, and shouts, waiter, can I do that?
You absolutely cannot do that.
Okay, good to know.
That is a massive cultural faux pas. A faux pas is a social mistake that makes people view you negatively. In modern English-speaking cultures, especially in the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia, snapping your fingers, whistling, or shouting across the room is considered incredibly rude.
Yeah, I'd imagine people would stare at you.
They definitely would.
Yeah.
It treats the person serving you like a servant, rather than a professional doing a job.
It is demeaning. So if my water is empty and I cannot shout, what is the polite mechanism for getting their attention?
It relies entirely on body language and timing. You must wait for the server to walk relatively close to your table, or wait until they are looking in your general direction.
Okay.
When you catch their eye, you make solid eye contact. Then you give a very small, gentle wave of your hand, just lifting your hand slightly off the table, not waving it wildly in the air. As you do this, you project your voice slightly and say, excuse me.
Excuse me, with a question mark sound at the end.
Yes, exactly. Or you can use the word sorry with that same upward questioning tone. Sorry? Both of these phrases are polite interruptions. The server will see your wave, hear the polite word, and walk right over to help you.
That is so helpful. Now, before we move on to paying, I want to clarify a vocabulary word we keep using today. I notice we keep saying server. When I studied English years ago, my textbook taught me the words waiter for a man and waitress for a woman. Are those words wrong now?
They are not entirely wrong, and people will definitely understand what you mean. However, language evolves.
Yeah. Sure.
In modern North American English particularly, server has become the standard professional term. It is gender neutral, meaning it doesn't matter if the person is a man or a woman. It simply describes the professional role they are performing. They are providing a service. It is generally safer and more respectful to use server.
I really like that. It sounds much more professional. Okay, so you waved politely. You said, excuse me, the server brought you more water. You finished your meal, the plates are empty. Now it is time for the final stage of the restaurant journey. You need to pay and leave. How do I initiate this process?
You need to request the paper that shows how much money you owe. To do this politely, we start the sentence with a soft request. The best beginnings are, could I have? Or, could we get?
Could we get? It sounds very gentle. Much better than saying, give me.
Exactly. Could we get the... Now, the word that comes next depends entirely on where you are in the world. This is a fascinating little regional difference.
Yes, If you are in the United States, you will ask for the check. Could we get the check, please?
But if you are in the United Kingdom or many other parts of the English-speaking world, the word is the bill. Could I have the bill, please?
What happens if I get confused? Like, I am an American, so I say check. If I travel to London and I automatically say, could we get the check, please? Is the server going to be angry? Will they misunderstand me?
Not at all. Because of movies and television, these words are universally understood. A server in London knows exactly what an American means by the check, and a server in New York knows what a British tourist means by the bill. They will just smile and bring you the piece of paper showing your total.
Okay, they bring you the paper. Now we enter a phase that causes massive anxiety for travelers. The actual logistics of handing over the money. It feels like every restaurant has a totally different rule.
Oh, they really do.
Sometimes you pay at the table, sometimes you have to walk to the front door. How do I know what to do without asking and looking foolish?
This variance is confusing even for native speakers. In a formal restaurant, you usually stay seated. The server brings the bill in a small book. You put your credit card in the book, leave it on the table, and wait for the server to take it, swipe the card, and bring it back.
Right.
But in casual cafes, you might be expected to take the paper and walk up to a cash register near the exit.
The best advice I can give you here has nothing to do with speaking. It is purely about observation. Use your eyes.
Yes, read the room.
When you are sitting at a table, take a moment to look around. Watch the other customers. If you see people standing up and walking to a counter to pay, then you know that is the system. If everyone is sitting at their tables handing credit cards to the servers, do that. Observation is 50% of language learning.
That is an excellent strategy. Observe and adapt. Now, we must tackle the most complex, anxiety-inducing topic of all. Tipping culture.
Oh boy.
A tip is extra money added on top of your bill to reward the server for their work.
The tipping screen panic. This is a modern nightmare. The server hands you a digital tablet. The tablet shows your bill, but then it flips to a screen asking for a tip. It usually has these big buttons that say 15%, 18%, 20%. The server is standing right there looking away, pretending not to watch you push the button. My heart races every time. What are the actual rules?
The rules vary wildly depending on the country, and this is why research is essential before you travel. Let's break down the major regions. In the United States and Canada, tipping is not really optional. It is an ingrained part of the economic culture.
That's very true.
Servers are often paid a very low hourly wage by the restaurant, and they literally rely on your tips to pay their rent and buy groceries. The standard expectation is to add between 15 and 20% of the total bill. If your meal was $50, you're expected to leave an extra $10.
Yeah, if you do not leave a tip in America, the server might actually chase you out the door to ask what they did wrong. It's a huge deal. But what if I fly across the ocean to the United Kingdom?
The UK system is different. When you look closely at your printed bill, you will often see a line item that says service charge included. It's usually around 12.5%. If you see that text, the tip has already been added to the total. You do not need to add more money unless the service was absolutely extraordinary.
And what if I'm visiting Sydney, Australia, or Auckland, New Zealand?
In Australia and New Zealand, the culture is entirely different. Tipping is not expected as a standard practice at all.
Wow, really?
Yeah. The workers in those countries are paid a higher standardized living wage by their employers. They do not rely on tips to survive. While you can leave small change if you want to be generous, there is no social pressure to leave a 20% tip.
So, as a traveler, you really have to do a little homework on your airplane ride. But from a language perspective, if you know the word tip, you are safe. If you are confused, you can simply ask the server, is the tip included? It is a perfectly valid question.
Exactly. Knowing the vocabulary gives you the power to clarify the situation safely.
We have done it. We walked in the door, we stalled for time, we pointed at the menu, navigated the meat temperatures, asked for the bill, and figured out the tip. We survived the entire restaurant experience.
Congratulations.
Now, to make sure these concepts stay with you long after this deep dive is over, we are going to do something special. As we promised at the start, we are going to do a vocabulary review for beginners.
We want to review the most critical language from today. But we are not going to sound like a robotic textbook recording. Think of this as building a mental cheat sheet.
Yes, a cheat sheet. Imagine you are standing outside the restaurant right now. You are nervous. You take a pen and you write 3 basic concepts on the palm of your hand before you walk in. Let's review what those should be.
Okay, first, if you only remember one structural phrase to order anything, a drink, a side, a main course, what is that champion phrase?
That phrase is I'll have the. And of course, the magic word to add at the end is please. I'll have the chicken, please.
Perfect. Second, if you sit down, open the menu, and panic because you aren't ready, what phrase gives you breathing room?
Can I have a few more minutes? Remember, this phrase is actually a gift to a busy server.
Third, if you are completely finished ordering and the server asks if you need anything else, how do you politely close the conversation?
That's all, thank you. It gives them the green light to leave the table.
Those 3 phrases alone will get you through almost any restaurant interaction smoothly. I'll have the, can I have a few more minutes? That's all, thank you.
Now, knowing the phrases is one thing, but how do we practice them so they actually come out of our mouths when we are stressed? Our sources offer a piece of advice that sounds a bit strange at first, but is highly effective. They recommend imaginary practice.
Imaginary practice. It might feel silly, but mental and physical rehearsal is a powerful tool. When you are alone at home, maybe standing in the shower or cooking in your kitchen, practice speaking these phrases out loud.
Out loud.
Yes. Do not just think them. Say them. I'll have the burger, please. Excuse me, can we get the check?
Why does it matter if I speak out loud in my empty kitchen? My neighbors might think I'm crazy.
Because your brain and your mouth need to build physical muscle memory. When you are in a real restaurant, your stress wall goes up. But if your mouth has already physically formed the words, I'll have the 100 times in the shower, muscle memory takes over. Your brain doesn't care if the server is real or imaginary during practice. The physical act of speaking builds confidence and neural pathways.
So talk to your shower head. Order a medium-well steak from your refrigerator. It really works. Before we say goodbye today, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Let's hear it.
Throughout this entire deep dive, we have discussed how navigating a restaurant is not a test of your intelligence. It is a process of mutual cooperation. The server wants to bring you food, you want to eat the food. If you point at the menu or if you only use simple one-word answers like, medium please, you are not failing at English, you are succeeding at communication.
That perspective shift is the ultimate key to fluency. Language is a tool for connection, not a performance.
So think about your daily life. What other stressful everyday interactions could become easier if you stopped worrying about perfect grammar? What if you need to buy a train ticket from a busy station agent? What if you need to ask a stranger for directions on a loud street corner?
Right.
If you approach those moments with the same philosophy, focusing on simple clarity, a polite please, and the knowledge that the other person usually wants to help you, how much less scary would the world be?
It changes everything. It turns strangers from judges into collaborators.
You are smart, you have a rich personality, and you never have to stand outside a restaurant window eating a cold supermarket sandwich ever again. You have the tools. Take a deep breath, push open that heavy glass door, walk up to the host, and confidently say, just me. Enjoy your meal, keep practicing, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.